All right. Welcome, everyone. Today is our 24th session of the Platform Academy. I am very happy you decided to join us today. My name is Lisa Hohenstein. I'm an outbound product manager for the Now platform, specifically for platform workflow. That includes Flow Designer, Process Automation Designer, and Decision Builder. And I've been working with the Now platform for over 6 years, and I've been working with ServiceNow for about 3.5. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Mudit. Mudit, please give a quick introduction to yourself.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited today. So, hi everyone. My name is Mudit. I'm a product manager with ServiceNow platform team, and I take care of products in ServiceNow which deal with adoption of applications and product areas that you've purchased as part of ServiceNow, as part of your, overall suite of products that you buy from store. And yeah, I joined ServiceNow around a year back, and I'm super excited to be part of this journey. And when I think about digital adoption, this is one area that really excites me. So I was going through digital adoption, and I realized that last decade has been such a roller coaster, such a high drive for all the digital push and across the industries, across the market, which brings adoption as one of the key challenges that our customers face today. And this is what really excites me about this area. And I'm super excited to be here today talking about ServiceNow's, adoption services, the products it consists of, and the solutions we can have for increasing the overall adoption.
That is super exciting. I'm so glad to have you here. I think it's great to speak about those products that we'll see today. And I think it will be super helpful to have this content available on demand as well. So we have a couple of people joining us, but as always, the session is being recorded and I will edit this next week and then upload to YouTube. So you can find this in the Platform Academy playlist on our Now Community, ServiceNow Now Community channel on YouTube. And we'll also share all the deck and the info on the community. So with that, I think I can start our initial survey. So we would like to see some info from you if you have seen any of the products that we're going to speak about today. Are you aware of them? Have you seen them before? Have you used them before?
Okay, so here's a quick forward-looking statements are going to be there or in this presentation. While whatever we present here may reflect what we think today, but as future is unpredictable and things can change. So this is just a safe harbor notice. When we talk about this whole space of digital adoption, as I talked, last decade, all the organizations, all the industries, they've seen great amount of push in digital journeys, in making things digital from the older way of analog working, and lot of softwares, lot of capabilities have been developed. Even our platform, Now platform, it has been used so extensively. So many applications and custom applications have been built on it. And what I see is digital adoption is one of the biggest challenge organizations face today. So organizations spend billions and billions of dollars acquiring softwares, trying to make sure that their business processes are streamlined, their employees are getting the high operational efficiency with those softwares. But a big chunk of those softwares, or big capability chunk of that software, remains unutilized because of unknowingness of the platform features or the product features which are available as part of the product purchases. So this is a really big challenge for these organizations. And if we go by numbers, 35 to 40% of the amount they spend remains unrealized because organizations are not really able to harness complete value out of the products that they've purchased. And this is why this space of adoption really is very important, and holds a very important place in the overall journey of value realization, as well as time to that value realization. So this is a quote that I like from one of the Gartner studies. It talks about, two key areas when we talk about adoption. First is, embracing, and second is getting productive with it. So these are really, two aspects of adoption. First is knowing what you have, right? Knowing what you can do with the software. If I talk about the Now platform, it's such a vast platform, so many capabilities, so many applications, product areas, you can do so many things. So knowing what all you can do, what all you can, what all business processes you can do with all that you have. And then second part is how you make your users really productive with it. So while, organizations learn and people learn how to use that feature, but getting it utilized by the end users is altogether a different game. It requires a lot of training efforts. It requires a lot of hand holding of users and giving them, step by step guidances, on point guidances on how to do certain things, how to achieve certain business processes. And that is where I talk about, these two areas of digital adoption when I talk about, the adoption in general.
The most beautifully designed product and process isn't worth nothing if people aren't following it or using it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that, Lisa. Okay, so here are, three pillars of, what do we want to achieve with the products we have as part of adoption services portfolio. So first is adoption. So adoption has multiple aspects of looking at it. So first is the quantum of adoption, or the horizontal spread of adoption. So you got a platform, you got ServiceNow platform, you've got, hundreds of applications purchased. Are you using all of those applications? Have you really configured all of those applications? Have you really touched upon all the capabilities and features of that application? That is part one of adoption, which is the horizontal spread of adoption. Second is, what is the speed of your adoption? Did you take like 2 years to adopt the entire suite that you bought, or did it take just 2 months to get it adopted? So that speed really drives the return that you get, and the faster you get the returns, the better is your ability to, realize the value out of your purchases. That is one aspect of looking at it. I think there is another aspect, which is in terms of usage. So when I talk about adoption, again, first level of adoption is when businesses know that they have purchased something, they roll out those products, those features to their end users to use, and they expect them to use it. But then second level of real adoption comes when actually users start using it in their day-to-day processes, in their day-to-day activities. That is when, we see the real value of adoption coming in. So that is something we want to achieve using the adoption services products. So enable both parties equally. When we talk about adoption, enable businesses to roll out and configure and set up everything within the product areas that they have as part of their business, as part of their portfolio, roll it out to users, and then help users, assist users in, gaining confidence in using those products. Second part of it could be productivity. So definitely, having something in my arsenal is good, but unless I'm productive with doing it, it makes no sense for me. So we also want to give users an experience where they are more productive with utilization of those capabilities than they were before utilization of those capabilities. So there are two aspects to productivity. First is the product feature itself that they are using, and second is the experiences that they get during the usage of those product features, how we are able to, mitigate the roadblocks for them when they are utilizing them. For example, I'm using a product feature after 3 months, I might have forgot how to use it, right? It's human nature. But how do this piece of software really help me understand and, regain that knowledge again, and, push me, or, hand hold me how to use it? That's what is really going to increase the overall productivity. And third leg is, return on investment. So we want to accelerate the ROI realization. We want to accelerate the time businesses take to realize the value that they can bring out of the platform and the product features that they have as part of their license. So this is again, related to faster adoption, adoption by, business owners, adoption by end users, and that is what is going to substantially increment on the ROI side. So this is what we have in mind when we talk about adoption services and what we want to achieve. If I talk about what we have or how we the kind of experiences that we have designed as part of the adoption services products, so there are quite different kinds of experiences that we can talk about. First one is related to administrators of the organizations and the experiences that they can build. So we know admins are a great or big part of ServiceNow ecosystem, and they are the people who really make our products work for the end users of on the customers end or on the businesses end. So there are a lot of experiences that admins want to design for their users, not just admins, but also our partner ecosystem. When they are releasing new applications, they want faster adoption of their applications. So they want their applications to be, heavily utilized. They want their applications to be completely configured by admins. And that is where, we have, builder experiences across our adoption services products. What this means is, without having to code, you could really create experiences for the target users. For example, if I'm a app developer, I'm releasing a new application on Now platform, and I want to ensure that there is a good amount of configuration and all the configurations are done right. I could utilize the builder experiences and create or curate a setup experience for my administrators, so that they are able to do it with little or no help, and they get all the guidance needed. Then second part to it is the setup assistance. So whenever any product goes out, first people to handle it are the administrators who are configuring it. And that is when if they do not find right resources to configure it well, if they do not find right set of support to configure it well, they would not be able to do that. So we want to give a detailed setup experience and assistance to all the administrators while they are really configuring the applications and product portfolios that they have. Once in the journey of the application, the setup is done, the next part is onboarding users or training users on how to utilize the product features, platform features, or application features. That is when onboarding comes into picture. So this is where we want to give toolkits to our admins, to our app developers to inform or teach users on how to utilize product features, what are the product features, how it benefits them, what is the value it provides to our users. That's about the kind of experiences or the kind of information we can provide to our users during the user onboarding processes. We also talk about self-service helps. So I'm doing some job and suddenly I'm stuck. I shouldn't have to call someone just to get help, or I shouldn't be raising a ticket just to get help. It should be right there on my fingertips. So that's what we want to do with this. Wherever you are, whatever area you are on, you get targeted help, targeted assistance, targeted support material. It may be as simple as textual, it may be as interactive as a video content, so it should be there. So I know if I'm stuck, there is an instructional video and I can just play it, and I know it's going to tell me how to do something.
I've seen that just today. I activated a plugin in my instance and it came with a video. So I think it was the project workspace. So the new project workspace in our configurable workspaces, you can just get to a video that shows you how to use that workspace, which is really awesome from right
Absolutely.
within there.
Absolutely, and I think video is very interactive. So while written content is great, you can add so much information and you could really curate that well. But videos are really interactive and they are really quick to help users understand how to do
Well, that's
something.
also why we're here today, right? We make
Absolutely,
videos so that people find it easier to start with these products also.
absolutely, and that is why we are recording this video. Yeah. And then we also talk about in-app guidance and training. So while you are on within an app, you're trying to perform an action, you're stuck and you get help right there at that point. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to really go to docs. You don't have to go outside of your experience. All the help, all the guidance, all the even the hand holding on how to do things, it's right there in your instance within the app, sitting with you. So these are the kind of experiences that we foresee, or that we plan to do as part of the adoption services products. So I've been talking about adoption services products, toolkits, portfolio, but what are these adoption services products? So we have 4 tools or products available as part of the adoption services toolkit. First one is guided setup. So guided setup is helpful for our administrators to give them a guidance on how to set up a product well. So it is a step-by-step process which app developers can generate, or app publishers can generate or curate for the administrators, so they find it really easy, step-by-step flow to configure a product well. Then we have guided tours, which I'm sure a lot of our participants today know about and a lot of our customers also know about. So guided tours is more transactional in nature. This is when I talk, say hand holding. So I've been talking, hand holding users across. So this is one of the products which really handholds users through the business process, through the outcome that you want to achieve. So it's a step-by-step walkthrough of the applications. It can be used for onboarding, teaching. It could also be used for accomplishing complex tasks which couldn't be mind mapped every time. Then we have something called onboarding modals. So these are the modals which display some welcome content whenever user visits the application for the first time, or even you can invoke it when you come back and you want to have a look at it. So you imagine you recently bought a new application, or you build a new application and you want to tell your users what's there in this application that they can utilize. So you can make use of some onboarding modals to roll out that information. And then we have help center, which is also known by some as embedded help. So this is the targeted help content based on the context. So as you move across the products, the applications, the pages, the content really changes and it adapts to where you are, giving you the contextual results from based on where you really are and the need of your working style. So I'll go ahead and
I
delve
think
deeper into each of these
we
subjects
have
as we move ahead.
we have one question in the meantime. So
Yeah.
Eric asks, if the additional help is in the instance and not at docs, does it get updated if it gets updated in docs, or how would you go about this? So I could see this I think I've seen this in embedded help, for example, in Flow Designer. You have the sidebar that surfaces info
Yeah.
from docs. Is that pulled from docs directly, or is that saved locally?
So this is not really fetched from docs. So docs is a much detailed on what an application is. It's on a broader level. When I talk about content within help center, it is targeted towards specific pages, specific actions on those pages, how to do it on, and
Mhm.
how to achieve what you want. And to answer your question, Eric, this content is updated regularly to solve any gaps in the content. So if there is a incorrect content published in one of the releases, every month there is an update in the content which goes from product over the cloud, and your instance gets updated with the latest content.
That's awesome. So that's for the content that we provide. But if you have your own content in any of those products, you're also like the customers are also responsible for updating that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you have created your own content, you can, anytime go ahead and update your content on your instances. So I'll start by guided setup. So what is guided setup? So as I mentioned, our admins are first set of users who start using the platform and the products on the platform. And it is super, super important to guide them how to utilize the complete configurations, configure the product to 100% so that they reap the complete benefits of the product they have purchased. Guided setup essentially enables our admins with the help of a simplified flow in terms of what needs to be done and in what order they can do it. Right. So it's like a step-by-step process where, they could go ahead and complete all the configuration tasks that is required from them. Now, who creates these steps, or who creates these guided setups? So all the app developers, it could be ServiceNow app developers, it could be partner apps, app developers, it could be app developers that are customers and who have created a new application locally. So they could just go ahead and create these guided setups using the builder experience, which I talked about. Guided setup has a builder experience using which, you need not code, but you can still create an experience of, how or you want the users to move across the configurations. And you can just go ahead and create that journey. So these guided setups can be utilized by admins to completely set up the product. When I talk about guided setup, there are two aspects to guided setup. So one is the builder experience, another one is the player experience. So builder experience is essentially designed for the app developers, or developers who are building the products. So it's a no code experience builder. You could create multiple setup experiences. So you could have a basic setup experience, which is like bare minimum you need to do this in order to start using this product. Then you could have recommender or advanced setup mode, where you put in a lot of different tasks or more number of tasks, which makes sure that even the complex workflows can be achieved because you've done an advanced configuration of the product. So you can have multiple setup experiences that you can create for the administrators, which administrators can really choose from, whether they want to go into basic setup, they want to go into a advanced setup, or they want to choose something in between, maybe not the basic, not too advanced, something which is more recommended or best experience. You could define interdependent tasks, mandatory optional tasks. You can even install make users install plugins which are required for your product areas. So that is also possible
Hey,
within
for
the
the
builder
plugin
experiences.
installation, can we hook this up to CICD pipelines to make sure that those plugins also get installed on the other instances? So not just dev, but maybe also test and staging and prod at some point?
Yeah, I think in some point we can definitely do this. This is internally leveraging the similar kind of APIs, right?
Yeah, sure. That's awesome.
And then when we talk about guided setup, we also happen to have a player experience which is designed by builders for our administrators. So it's stitched flow of configuration steps. So when you design a new application, you have set of configurations to be done, which are maybe 17 different pages you have to do, so, and you have to go 17 different places. Instead of doing it, builders can stitch all of those 17 pages in a stepped flow, which is available to administrators. When they move in that stitched flow, they don't have to go anywhere. It's right there. They keep flowing through all of those steps. It saves all the progress as you move ahead. It tracks the completion of your setups, what you have done, what you haven't done. So there are 20 tasks to be done. You've only completed 10. It keeps reminding you and telling you, hey, you've only done 10, right? You could also, there are a couple of things that are there in pipeline, like you could assign tasks, you could have connected guided setups. So this is what we're planning as part of guided setups.
So for these guided setups, this was already a thing in for ServiceNow, right? So most of our products that we ship come with some form of guided setup. It'll ask you to also install plugins, or they get installed automatically. They ask you to set up groups and add members to certain groups so that approvals will work. So some people may already be familiar with guided setup from a user or admin perspective, but the cool thing is with the Tokyo release, it's now available to you to create your own. And we have another
Absolutely.
question. So will this setup, the guided setup, be tracked in an update set? So maybe another question here. Should this be put in an update set? Should you put this in the scope, in the application scope that you ship the application with, or would it go in its own scope? What's your recommendation?
So the guided setup, this guided setup is essentially a standalone store app, right? So you don't have to release anything as a as an additional scope to your existing application when you try to build any guided setup. All you need is to build your setup in the guided setup experience, and the content of that guided setup, the table content of that guided setup, that gets shipped with your product area. Right, so all our users need to run that guided setup is to have the guided setup application installed in one of their instances, and it should work.
Okay, so that when you create the guided setup, it will be captured in an update set, or you can promote it upstream also to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a quick demo on how it looks on screen. So this is all text. So let me show you how it looks like. So let's first see, the builder experience we've been talking about. So this is the kind of experience our app developers get when they are trying to build the experience, or product teams get when they are trying to build the guided setup experience for their administrators to run, right? So it's a UI widget which takes you through a journey. So you could just go ahead, provide name of your guided setup, the description of what your guided setup is doing. You could even bind the guided setup to a specific role. So you don't want this guided setup to be available for everyone, right? You could really bind it to a role who can really use it. And you can also choose whether this guided setup includes installation of a plugin or not. So that way you can control, whether you want to have an installation as part of the setup or not.
If I include the installation right here, will it install automatically, or does it just add the steps?
So when you do this, what it does is it adds a step within your guided setup,
Okay.
To install, and later, when we move in the builder journey, you'll see that we configure what all plugins we want to include or install as part of that installation step.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so let's continue. And the moment you continue, you land on a category and task board. So this is where you see the plugin task auto created, since we selected that this setup includes some plugin installation. So the way this board works is you can have a number of tasks that you want your users to do, and you can combine those tasks into different categories. For examples, you would see that the plugins category is pre created, right? It's a system created category because we selected this. Now you could go ahead and add new category with the add category button there, and you could add multiple categories and then add different tasks that you want users to perform as part of that category. So one of the categories could be like branding of the application, right? How do you control that? So you have all the steps related to the branding. Then you could have a category related to security, and you could have all the configurations that you want to do for security. Yeah.
So this looks a lot like a Kanban board, or like a phased approach to this also, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, so you could edit a task, define any dependencies. Your dependency is all about you telling the system that you can't really do this task unless you've already completed one of the other tasks. So you can make interdependent tasks so that user knows that in order to do this, I need to complete a previous task. So let's try and add details to this category, this task. So this is where, you could add instructions for your tasks. So the instructions that you want the end users to really follow. So this is where you tell them how to do it. What is it that they are exactly doing? What is it that they should expect once they do it? You could, add in some, bulleted content. This could be a rich text content, and you could even, utilize, richer modes of, content delivery when you talk about the instructions. Since this was an installation task, you see the task type auto selected as install plugins. Right, so I can just give a sample description or instruction here and continue this. This lands us on the configure task. So this is where I choose the plugins that I want to get installed as part of this task. So whenever users are on this task, this is where, I choose the plugins that will get installed. So I can, select a couple of plugins and continue. Okay, so now I have plugins, and now I am on the task settings page. This is where I can define, any sort of dependency condition if there are, and I can also bind this task to a setup type. So I talked about, setup types in the beginning, right? You want your users to be in the basic mode of setup or the advanced mode of setup. So you could really tie your tasks with the setup type. So there are 3 pre-existing setup types, quick start, best experience, and custom. So all the, quick start is like basic, the bare minimum that a user needs to do. Best experiences, are the recommended option. So not very basic, not too advanced, but if you do this, you'll get most out of it. And, custom is like everything. This is the whole set of configurations that you can do. Similarly, since we are in the installation, this is where we can choose. For quick start, you need only one of the apps or plugins. For best experience, you probably need, both of the applications to get installed. So you can choose which installation goes with which kind of setup types. Similarly, you can come out and create more tasks. It's just as you move ahead, as you keep adding things here. So as you keep adding things here, you see that, things are getting saved. So as you move ahead, things are getting saved. You can also, move tasks in between, one category to another category. So as you said, this is like a board, right? Your regular working board where you can, work out how, or chalk out how you want to work. And similarly, you could have more tasks created. When we talk about tasks, there are essentially three more types of tasks that you can create. It could be a table task where you just want people to add some entries into the table. So you could have a table task. You could iframe any existing screen. So you have a configuration screen that you want to iframe within the guided setup. You can go ahead and choose a iframe task where you can iframe, and you could just have a, documentational task. So you want users to go through a video or an instructional article before going ahead and completing that task. So you could just go ahead and choose the articles and videos task where you can link external video or any other video. It could even be a YouTube video that you can associate. So this is how, you can really go ahead and configure your, the task that you want to do and assign it with the setup types. And you can just go ahead and publish your setups. And at the time of publishing the setup, you can really choose a pre-setup checklist, something that users need to have before they really publish it. And voila, it's done. Your guided setup is published and ready to be utilized by your administrators. Now let's look at the player experience. So this is the experience that your end users get.
Before
So
you
when
continue, we have another question in the Q&A panel. Is it possible to run any scripts or flows automatically from those tasks, from those steps?
So these tasks essentially, what you're doing is either you are embedding any of the iframed screens, or you're embedding a table task. So if any of the iframed screens, any of the tasks on the iframed screens can trigger running of a script or a automation workflow, you can achieve that by it in itself, it doesn't run anything.
Right. Do you
It's just a
can you
tool to
can you share if that's
orchestrate
on the roadmap, because that would be really handy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So coming back to the player experience, so I've been talking about quick start, best experience, custom. This is where our users really get to choose the kind of experience they want to get in, right? So when they launch any of the guided setup, they get these options provided all three are configured, and they can choose which experience they want to enter into. Let's say, we choose the quick start option and you want to move ahead. Okay, let's use custom. And as you move ahead, you see a detailed list of all the categories that you have designed. So we created a plugins category, and then a couple of more categories. You could have connectivity, service catalog, knowledge management, and then all the tasks that are part of this category. You could go ahead and click on the start button to start working on these tasks in a sequential manner. And as you move ahead in the journey, you will also see the statuses, as you can see in the left hand side, with what's the status, if it's not started, if it's in progress, if it's completed. So what's the overall status of the task? That is something you could see. So this is one of the tasks. If you see, as I completed it, it shows completed. So this is one of the examples of iframe task. I framed one of the screens here, and you could see the entire screen coming up or popping up. And if it's still in progress, you see the status as in progress. So this is how the builder and player experience of how guided setup really work.
Hey, one question about this visual. This is a new way to look at guided setups. Are previous ones also uplifted to this view, like the ones that we shipped out of the box? Will all of them show like this now, or do they still show the old interface?
So this is they still show as the old interface, but as we move ahead in the journey, we are going to, we are planning to come up with a migration from the older to the newer one. So as the applications or the business units or products keep on adopting those migration scripts, their setups would also be migrated. So this migration is definitely part of our upcoming releases as we move ahead in the journey.
Thank you.
Cool. So this was about guided setup. I'll move to the second product, which definitely a lot of our users know, which is guided tours. So this is another very, very exciting product. So it provides that hand holding, which I keep, which I've been talking about to users on how to really complete a certain task. So this is not really just about hand holding. This is also about training users, on how to do some things, or maybe, training them where to find what within a page. It could even be used for that. So guided tour has been one of the very heavily used product features from the whole of the adoption services toolkit, as well as it is one of the oldest toolkits available within the
as was reflected services in our poll, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody knows guided.
So when I talk about guided tours, there are multiple aspects to it. So first is, definitely it is a step-by-step guidance on how to complete a task. Then you've got options to, manually launch it, auto launch it. It supports the regular screens. It supports service portals. It has a tool designer as well. So there is a builder experience with this as well. You could just go ahead and build the kind of experience you want to build for your users. So this is something even the administrators can utilize to build the tools for their end users. Those tools could be instructional tools. Those tools could be for complex actions that people keeps on forgetting, or keeps asking questions about. So this is really, really helpful if you want to give users on point guidance on how to achieve something. So this is how it looks like. So if let's say, let me move to one of the pages. So this is how I go to guided tour designer. I click on create tour. I give the name to a tour that I'm trying to create, and the UI, and from what page it is going to be invoked. Now, the moment I do it, I'm landed on that page, and on the right hand side, I see a designer right on the extreme right. This is where I can drag and drop my call out on individual elements and choose, what where I want the users to really click and what to show them. So you could really, guide them through a process, click here to create a new incident. And you can just say what to do on next and save it. So this is step number 1. And then what could be step number 2? So you go inside and now you teach users what to fill in where. So on this field, okay, this is the field, this is mandatory. So you should fill in, this, select the caller name, and this is how, you go ahead and provide details on how you go about this tour, and you can create multiple steps. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to create a step by step for our users on how to complete a particular task. Similarly, when you're trying to, end this task, you can even add a conclusion to it. I'll just quickly move forward. So this is how it gets started in the player journey. When you are on that page, you could manually invoke, or it could get auto invoked. And this is going to, this is how it tells users where to click and what to do. So it keeps popping up, teaching users how to do a certain task. So this is both instructional as well as, hand holding, or, and in doing complex tasks.
So when going through a guided tour, you're actually doing the things. You are actually, once you hit submit, you are actually creating this, this record. It's not just holding your hand and guiding you through it, but you're actually doing it.
Absolutely.
One question we had in the Q&A was, will this work with the next experience UI? That is a common question.
Yes, this is definitely one question I've been getting. So this will definitely work with Next Experience UI. With San Diego, there have been some hiccups where this stopped working with Next, but very soon in one of our patches, you should see this working in San Diego.
Awesome, thank you. So this means it works for core UI pages like lists and forms, configurable workspaces, so pure Next Experience pages. This is on the roadmap support for those, right?
So yes, Lisa. So when I talk about Next Experience, there are two aspects. First is the Polaris theme and the new navigation. So it works with new navigation, and it'll start working with our latest patches on San Diego. When I talk about configurable workspaces, that is something we are planning in our nearest roadmap. So it should be delivered as part of nearest roadmap.
Awesome, thank you.
Moving to the third product, which is onboarding modals. So this is about, providing your users with the welcome content or information on, what this product is or what this new update consists of, right? This is really, really helpful for our app developers to push details on, what to expect from a product or what to expect from an upgrade. So if our partner applications or even the app developers at customers ends, they could really utilize this feature to push the content and form of the information to their users. And this is a wonderful tool because this is completely controlled by app developers. You could choose what content to pull in, where to show it, and even this has a conditional workflow in it. So you could really choose where to move after what based on the user preferences, user selections. As part of the onboarding modal, you could really ask a question to users within that onboarding modal as they move across the carousel on the modal, and you could really drive the flow of modals appearing or flow of carousel steps appearing. If I just take a quick look at this, this is one of our screens, and when you click on check it out, this is one of the examples of onboarding modals. You see, you get to see information, you can embed your images, you can have videos embedded in it. You can see, you can even ask questions to users about their preferences, how they want to move forward, and based on the selections by the users, you can really navigate them across the workflow, take them to a different step altogether. So that is the beauty of onboarding modals. And I think it is one of the super helpful tools where tools when it it comes to users, because when they land on any application, they immediately get this modal, and which tells them, okay, you know what, these are the cool new things about this product upgrade.
So this could also be used for really not just new products, but also new releases to onboard
Absolutely.
my users to new deployments of enhancements to the already known features and functions and processes that they have been using.
Absolutely, absolutely. This can be
Nice.
used for this, yes. And last one, help center. So this is this is where you provide contextual guidance to your users right where they are, right? So I am on one of the pages. I am not able to understand what to do with this page. I know what is the purpose, how do I fill in certain section of the page. So this is where you got that question mark icon right on the top right hand side of the top navigation or app shell. That's where it resides. You click on it and it gives you context sensitive content, which means it gives you content, help content, which is specifically targeted for that page or that section which you are on. So it's an in-app guidance that you are getting. There is video support, there is textual support, there is image support. So you name a mode, so all three modes are supported. You could really provide users great amount of help on how to do something. You could also customize your content. So I see a lot of our customers customize the applications they've bought. They add new pages, add new applications. You could really change the content that is shipped from the product size based on how you have implemented it. You could really create new content for the new pages that you have designed, and you could also provide feedbacks for the content. If you don't like a content, if you don't find the content helpful, users can give those feedbacks, which could be utilized by content teams to improvise on their content. So this really relates back to the question we got initially, Lisa, that is this content really updated or how frequently? So based on the feedbacks, this content can really get updated on a monthly basis from the ServiceNow end. And this is how it looks. So on the top right, you see that question mark. When you click on it, this is how the help panel looks like, and it lists down various help topics that you have listed on this page. Users can go ahead and click on any of the help topics, and they can read it. This can be pinned, like I've pinned it right now. So this can be pinned to the page, so you could just read across the content and move across. And if you see, I moved to a different page where there was no content, and suddenly I stopped seeing I came back here and I see the content again. So this is how it works. It keeps switching based on the context you're on or the page you're on. So this is about the adoption services products that we have. But one of the key questions here is when to use what, right? So there are various use cases to using it, but when to use what? So I typically try to divide this in 4 parts. But before I move, I think you have something to ask, Lisa.
Yes, I was going to ask if I should run the final poll for this. Now that they've seen all of the 4 products, how likely are you to adopt these? And while we do that, we'll look at the different use cases.
Absolutely. Okay, so I actually classify all the use cases of utilization in 4 key categories. First is user onboarding. We want to onboard new users on utilization of product capabilities. Second is guidance to users in the inside of the application. So we want to guide them when they are stuck. Third one is system or application setup. We want to give all sort of help or assistance when you're setting up something or when you're configuring the product, and a general help on how to use ServiceNow functionalities, applications, or products that you've purchased. So if I see this spread, if I talk about user onboarding, onboarding modals are really helpful, because this is where, you can push out information on what to use when, on what are the new cool features, new things as part of an update, new things when you've bought something new, got something new in your instance. You could have guided tours which can help users get onboarded faster with the instructional tours on how to do something. So there'll be a first time hand holding and then users can relaunch that hand holding anytime they want. You could have guided setup. This is, when admins start using the platform or product areas and they find it difficult. So there is a great amount of onboarding which you can do with guided setup. It's easier to use for our administrators as well. When I talk about guidance, again, in addition to onboarding modals and guided tours, which are definitely guided tours is providing that step-by-step guidance within the application, because whenever you are on an application, tours can get invoked, or you can really invoke it from within the help center. That's the one type of guidance. Then onboarding modals is another set of guidance in terms of capabilities, features, what to expect from them. And then you have all the detailed help center there, which tells you everything about the nits and bits of how to do certain tasks, and in the form of a text, video, or images and whatnot. So
yeah,
that
one
is
thing
where
I wanted to call out here, maybe it went under. So guided tours, once you've gone through them, you can take them again by opening up the help center from the side, and then you'll see the available tours for that page. So even if you clicked it away, you can always come back to the tour for that page. And you can also have multiple tours per page, right?
Absolutely, you can have. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So Lisa, not just guided tours, again, all three of them, you could take a look any number of times you want. So onboarding modals, it totally depends on the app developers. They could really create a hook to relaunch it again and again. Help center, as we know, you could really open it up whenever you want. Then we have, system setup. So guided setup is a tool which is specifically designed for the use cases of our administrators, keeping in mind. So how to make them acquainted with the setup process, how to make them comfortable with the steps to be followed, and how to make them really give them really a wonderful experience and an easy experience in setting up the overall process. That's about guided setup. And then in general, if you want to understand how to use any of the ServiceNow functionality or the applications or products that you purchased on ServiceNow, you could make use of all of these product areas, depending on where you are. So if you're in the setup space, you've got guided setup, help center. If you've got in the transactional space, you've got guided tours, help center, and onboarding modals. So this is how, all these 4 products is spread across, the administration and the end user roles to make sure that users are really onboarded on the platform. They are the 2 kinds of user bases that I talked about in the beginning, which is the enabling users, which are the administrators, as well as the utilizing users, which are the end users. How both of those user segments can be satisfied with this spread of adoption services products.
Awesome. This is so helpful. I think especially this recommendation on when to use what will be super helpful to customers later.
Absolutely. I think I can open up the forum for any questions that you have. I'd be glad to answer.
Yeah, and while we do that, I'm already starting my Academy feedback poll. So I'd love to have your feedback on this session. Let us know if there are any more questions in the Q&A or in chat. And while we're looking for those questions, I'll give you a little more info and overview of the coming Academy sessions. So first of all, thank you so much, Mudit, for sharing this with us. I think this is very useful content, and I'm looking forward to sharing this out with more customers on YouTube. We'll have only 4 more sessions of this Academy for this year. The year's almost over. I can't believe it. We'll have a break for Thanksgiving because a lot of people joining are in the US, and also, of course, for Christmas and New Year's. Our coming sessions are all, many of them are also targeted at ServiceNow admins. So we'll speak about Tokyo enhancements for ServiceNow admins in 2 weeks. That covers products like Upgrade Center, but also upgrade plans, which is a really cool enhancement. Then we'll have 1 session that is an update to our previous subscription management session. And my manager, Adam Stout, will be speaking about mapping custom tables, which is always a very a topic that we get questions about all the time. So it'll be good to have some content about this. Then we'll have one session in November, which we're really excited about. One of our newest acquisitions is a product that we have added to our platform, and that is AI automated test creation for ATF and also Cloud Runners. So we'll have our, Dinesh, who's the product owner for Automated Test Framework, join us and talk to those new features. And then in December, we'll have my colleagues, Mike and Jared, join us for a session discussing the new ServiceNow Vault product. So Vault helps you with certain encryptions. There's, for example, there's a feature that allows you to automatically anonymize personal PII data when you clone down from your prod instance, so that your dev and tests instances are secured and don't include any personal data. So that's very, very exciting. I hope you'll join us in 2 weeks. And with that, it's right on time. Thank you again, Mudit, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in this session. And I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.